When people think about Texas history, they usually picture the Alamo, San Jacinto, or maybe even Stephen F. Austin or Sam Houston. But what if I told you one of the oldest communities in Texas is sitting quietly in Fort Bend County? And most people drive right past it without ever realizing its importance. Today we're uncovering the story of Thompsons, Texas, a community built along the Brazos River, shaped by railroads, agriculture, and some of the earliest settlers in Texas. By the end of this video, I think you'll see this little town in a completely different light. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Ashton St. Jean, the mayor of Fort Bend County, and your Greater Houston realtor. Whether you're thinking about moving here, investing here, or you've called Fort Bend County home your whole life, this channel is your go-to guide for everything Fort Bend. Every week, we're exploring the history, communities, hidden gems, and future of one of the fastest growing counties in all of America. Today, we're putting the spotlight on Thompsons, Texas, a community most people never notice. If you've ever driven Highway 59 towards Houston or traveled through Fort Bend County, there's a good chance you've passed Thompsons without thinking much about it. Once you start going on the back roads and start exploring, next thing you know, you end up inside of Thompsons. It's a small community tucked along the Brazos River, surrounded by lots of farmland, railroads, and wide open Texas landscapes. It's just behind the major master plan community, Greatwood. Unlike cities that grew because of suburban expansion, Thompsons has existed for generations. It's one of those places that reminds you not every community measures success by skyscrapers or shopping centers. Sometimes history is the greatest landmark a town has. Today, Thompsons remains small, but its location has always been important. The Brazos River provided fertile land. The railroad connected it to the rest of Texas, and agriculture became the heartbeat of the community. Well, the history of Thompsons. To understand Thompsons, we have to go back to the earliest days of Texas settlement, back before even Texas was its own country. This area became part of Stephen F. Austin's colony in the early 1800s. Part of the original 300. This whole Fort Bend County area was Stephen F. Austin's settlement, and Thompsons was one of the vital places in this settlement. Settlers were drawn here by the rich farmland along the Brazos River, where fertile soil made farming and ranching possible and profitable. The community later took the name Thompsons after the Thompson family, who became influential landowners in the area. Like many towns in Fort Bend County, Thompsons developed around agriculture, transportation, and the people who made a living from the land. This whole county has similar origins. The arrival of the railroad was another turning point. It connected farmers to larger markets and brought new opportunities to the region. For decades, trains carried crops and supplies through Thompsons, making the railroad an essential part of daily life. One thing I find fascinating is how many communities like Thompsons really helped build Texas. Yet today, now they're often overlooked because they never grew into large cities and never exploded with growth. Their stories are just as important because they remind us of where modern Fort Bend County began. Well, from cotton fields to today. For much of its history, Thompsons revolved around agriculture. Cotton, corn, cattle, and other crops supported local families for generations. Life moved at a slower pace, and the Brazos River remained central to the community's identity. As Houston expanded and nearby cities like Sugar Land and Missouri City experienced rapid development, Thompsons changed more gradually. That's one of the things I appreciate about this community. It still feels connected to its roots. It still feels like Texas. Drive through today and you'll still find open land, historic buildings, and reminders of the area's agricultural past and just a remembrance of a different time. It offers a glimpse into what much of Fort Bend County looked like before the master plan communities transformed the landscape. Well, what is Thompsons like today? Today, Thompsons appeals to people who value peace, space, and history. It's not the place you'll choose if you're looking for endless shopping or entertainment. But if you appreciate quiet country roads, larger properties, and living near one of Texas's most historic rivers, Thompsons offers something that many growing suburbs simply can't. Another benefit of Thompsons is you're still right there next to all the major developments, and you're still zoned to the highly rated George Ranch High School and Lamar Consolidated Independent School District. As Fort Bend County continues expanding, communities like Thompsons become even more important because they preserve the county's heritage while still offering access to greater Houston. Sometimes progress isn't about replacing history. Sometimes it's about protecting it. Mayor's Minute. Well, here's what I think. I believe Thompsons represents something bigger than just another small town. It reminds us that Fort Bend County didn't begin with subdivisions and shopping centers. It began with rivers, railroads, farms, and families willing to build a future from the ground up. If we don't tell these stories, they're eventually forgotten. That's one of the reasons I wanted to make this series, not just to help the people decide where to live, but to help preserve the history that makes every one of these communities unique. You have to appreciate the history to understand where the county's going. And one fun fact that I love about Thompsons, when you're driving through, it really is a small town. You don't even think of it as a town. But what's super cool is they have their own post office. They have a community center. You can see old buildings with old stores in there, but they're unfortunately no longer open. They have their own mayor and they have their own city government. Next time you're driving through, really think about Thompsons and think about, wow, they have all of this right here when you wouldn't least expect it. I hope you enjoyed learning the story of Thompsons, Texas. That's exactly why I created this series, to uncover the history, people, and communities that make Fort Bend County unlike anywhere else in Texas. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to that channel, and leave a comment letting me know which Fort Bend community you think I should feature next. If you're thinking about buying, selling, relocating, or investing anywhere in Fort Bend County or the greater Houston area, I'd love the opportunity to serve you. I'm Ashton St. Jean, the mayor of Fort Bend County and your greater Houston realtor. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.